Hello again. It's Gina Cavallini from Rosemary and Thyme Health, and welcome to my discussion about the fire element. So for those of you who don't know, the basis of Chinese medicine has to do with yin and yang. And I know you all have seen this symbol before, but what does that really mean? So in Chinese medicine, yin provides form and yang enables growth. So according to the Neijing, which is like our Bible of Chinese text, the warmth of spring gives rise to birth. The fire of summer fuels rapid growth and development. And the coolness of autumn matures all and provides harvest. And the coldness of winter forces inactivity and storing. So I want you guys to think about these elements that have been in play. And if you're following my other videos, we're talking about summertime now. What has been happening? We were in winter, people are inactive, they stay inside, they're in their sweaters and they're really cozy. And now summertime, we are out playing, we are traveling, we are having outdoor barbecues, we're getting the sun on our skin, all of those things, right? So there has to be this balance, right? So it's like 6 months ago, we were inside, cold, freezing, it was Christmas. And now we're at the height of summer. It's midsummer and we are staying up all night long in Sweden where the sun doesn't even set. So think about that interplay of yin and yang and how that works. So that's the rhythmic change of nature. If the 4 seasons become disrupted, the weather becomes unpredictable and the energies of the universe will lose their normalcy. And that happens within us as well. We need to always provide ourselves as much yin and yang as possible and maintain this homeostasis, this nice ebb and flow between those two energies all of the time. And it happens within us not only all year round, but 24 hours a day. So where does the fire element fit into this? Well, during the water, winter, we grew the wood of the trees that's burst up in spring, right? It's rebirth. During the wood season of spring, we are generating the fire of summer. So literal fires, but also that fire energy, that socialization, all of those things. That fire burns to become earth of the late summer harvest, which is this yellow here, and burned earth creates ash, which is the white ash of metal of autumn. And the metal seeps back into the earth and creates water and the cycle continues. So that's what that means if you needed more of a visual reference of that. So just remember that and pay attention to your body and how you're feeling, and then you will begin to better understand what element is at play within you. And it's going to change. It might change every hour. All right, so the fire element of summer rules the heart and the small intestine, the pericardium, which is the protective sac that is around the heart. And in Chinese medicine, we have this sanjiao, which I will explain a little bit later. Its color is red, and its fire creates earth and destructs the metal element. So here's the generating cycle going in a circle here. Fire is creating earth, when we talked about that in the cycle of life. And then if it's out of balance, it will skip this yellow earth and go in and insult the metal. And there's symptoms that will happen with that. I could talk a little bit about that too. So what are the emotions involved with the fire element? That's joy and it's love, but it could also be hate, right? This is big energy. This is yang. Its energy is psychic and it rules the sight. So this could be even sixth sense. And it also, manifests out through the eyes. Its activity is looking, controls the circulation of blood, hormones, and food. It rules the chest, right? Where is our heart located? And then its sound is laughing. So a really important aspect of the fire element is that it houses our Shen, which is our spiritual acts, like aspect of ourselves. And in Chinese medicine, there is this sort of analogy of the heart mirror. So the heart can be understood as a reflecting pool. It's a still pool that accurately reflects a person's surroundings. Their perceptions of themselves, others, and the world is viewed with clarity. Thoughts, actions, and interactions are lucid, and an individual can process and act with pure and true intent. So this is this concept of what you see is what you get, right? If our heart, which is our space of love and of joy and of being able to connect with other people and socializing, if we are viewing the world in a negative space, we are going to see what we get, right? We're going to create this narrative for ourselves that if we see the world negatively, then we are going to experience it negatively. And that's why this is really, really important to understand this Shen concept of the fire element. The heart is the empress or emperor, depending upon who you are, of the mind and body. What you feel reflects outward into your experience. You are the sole creator of your experiences. So I love C.T. Holman. He is pretty amazing. His books are amazing. He has this book called Treating Emotional Trauma with Chinese Medicine. And he states a healthy functioning heart communicates these inspirational visions. Insight spirals up and is expressed with the tongue, the sensory organ associated with the heart. Emotional trauma hinders expression and the ability to form clear thoughts. So calming a person's spirit and strengthening the heart reestablishes clear expression. So what does that look like if your Shen or your fire is in balance? Well, we think of that as people having mood swings. And I really like this picture of a person, the scan, having a manic episode. So think about this yang aspect of fire, right? This laughing, joyful, exuberant personality. This is coming out in almost a destructive, well, it doesn't have to be always destructive, but very exuberant way, right? If you are in a manic episode, you'll have a euphoric talking, you'll feel very powerful, you might engage in reckless behavior, you're very, very energetic, you won't need much sleep. You can always be irritated, that's another thing. You could be very angry, and you could also express a lot of confusion. So what I like about this scan is that it's showing the redness, this inflammation that is happening in the brain. It's just coming out. It's like the brain is on fire. And there's little splotches of water here trying to put it out, but it's just being overtaken. So that is physically happening within our body when we're having these Shen, heart, fire element disturbances. So we have to think about our body and each of these elements as being like a kingdom, and each organ has a specific role to play to keep the kingdom going, right? You are a well-functioning city inside your body. So what does the heart do? The heart is the empress, it's the ruler. It's the king or queen that rules the entire kingdom. It's paired with the small intestine, which organizes information brought into the kingdom, right? So think about this small intestine energetic. This goes beyond the organ, okay? So I want you guys, because in Chinese medicine, we not only view it as an organ aspect, but it has an energy and a function about it. So when I say heart, I'm not necessarily talking about just the heart organ that beats and pumps, okay? So the small intestine organizes the information. So you have to think of the small intestine not only functioning like what it does physically in the body, you think about it like your post office. So we take in all of this information, right? news, what we are learning at our jobs, and what we're discerning. And the small intestine is sorting it out in our body from what is junk mail and what is mail to keep. That's our discernment. That's our critical thinking skills. So somebody who has a personality that's really organized, everything has its place. It's like the person that you want working for you, like the ultimate assistant, because they organize your whole life and they do everything really well. That's like a small intestine energy being shown in a person as far as like personality. So I hope that makes sense. Now, what about the pericardium as an energy? The pericardium is the sac physically that goes around the heart. It is your heart protector physically. But what else does it do as an energy? It helps us with boundaries, what we let in, who we love, who we don't love. So if your pericardium energetically is closed off, you're going to be very, very closed off person, right? You're not open to connecting with other people. And then vice versa. There's people, especially think about people, or when you're having a manic episode, or you have too much overabundance, or your pericardium is too open. These are people with very low boundaries, and they'll just let anyone in, right? Too trusting. And then they're like coming to you crying and like, oh, I got burned again. That's that energetic, right? They need to be nurtured in their pericardium as an energy to help them to find balance so that they can protect their emperor, AKA empress. Now, the fire element, usually these elements only have 2 organs. The fire element is really special in that it has 4. And this last one is what we call the Sanjiao, or the triple warmer. Now we have this kingdom, right? In ancient times, what was going around the kingdom? That was a very large wall. And I love this picture because here's this old ancient wall, wherever it is. And it's in the UK somewhere, because that's where I got this image, right? And then there's these new modern buildings kind of going in around it. But think about what that wall did for that city, that AKA kingdom back in the day. It kept people from war, kept invaders from coming in and disrupting the kingdom. And that's what that Sanjiao energetic does for our chest area down to our, our vaginal space, or, rectum. That whole thing is housing all of our elements, AKA organs, and this city within us. So it keeps out external pathogens. So what that means in Chinese medicine is like colds and flus and viruses. It helps to regulate your body temperature as well. So if you have the fever or the chills, and it protects your organs. So if that can help with that concept, that really helped me click when I read that in a book somewhere. It was like, oh yeah, okay. Because as a student, I didn't understand really what that meant. So I love AcuPro Academy. They have amazing images that help sort this out. And this will help you to better understand our Sanjiao. So we have an upper jiao, a middle jiao, and a lower jiao. So our upper jiao is this upper chest area. It's compared to the mist because it disperses the body fluids in the upper body, similar to the lung, right? This helps with keeping out those external pathogens, wind, heat invading the Sanjiao. So you'll have a sore throat, you'll have pain in the ear, yellow tongue coat. That's when that pathogen is getting through your wall and into your organs and invading and making you sick. And then our middle jiao is where our stomach and spleen and liver is. And so if your middle jiao is being invaded in the Sanjiao, you might not be able to digest your food properly. You'll have food retention, belching, nausea, fullness in the stomach, bad breath, again, yellow tongue coat. And then this lower jiao, that's the drainage ditch. So what's happening in our lower jiao? That's where we are peeing and pooping and releasing all the stuff. So if your lower jiao cannot transform your toxins, You'll have dark, turbid urination, smelly diarrhea, and a yellow, greasy tongue coat. So we want to fortify that Sanjiao, and I'll explain a little bit how we do that. So how do you support your fire element? First thing, keep calm and relax. I am primarily a fire element type personality. I just have been really active in my life. And now since I've been learning more and more about Chinese medicine and learning more about my water element, I am using that water element to try to help balance my fire element. So I'm not just like la, 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 all the time, because I was like hell on wheels for years and years and years. So how do you support your fire element? First thing is self-love practice, right? This is our Shen. This is our Empress. We've got to take care of our heart. We don't want to be seeing the world in a negative space. And we need to maintain proper boundaries. This means with other people. This means with yourselves, because we break our own boundaries all of the time, and then we want to blame other people. It also means learning to say no. Don't overwork yourself, because you want to maintain that Sanjiao does not want those colds and flus to be coming in. You don't want to be getting sick all the time. You want to clear the clutter both spiritually and physically. You should discontinue relationships that are not fulfilling to you. Again, right? We've got to take care of our Shen. It's number one thing. What can we do physically? Dance, art, creativity, those things those what feed the fire element, and that's what gives us laughter. So healthy connections with others. We want to be feeling good joy, not destructive joy. Think about that raving man on the street. I live in Portland, Oregon. There's a lot of raving people on the street now. It just is what it is. Well, a lot of raving people everywhere. So, which is really unfortunate. So that raving man on the street who is just out of his mind, unfortunately, that's like what we call phlegm fire harassing the heart. And it's just like guck going to the brain and harassing the heart, causing a lot of imbalances in a person. You can see a therapist. I myself, I take calming oils and herbs, and you may even want to go and take a, antidepressant if that's something that you are called to do. And then again, fortify your Sanjiao with supplements. We can't be dancing and doing art and creativity and having all of this energy to spend with our friends if we are not fortifying our Sanjiao and our kingdom through proper nutrition and supplementation. And keep calm and relax, right? So what other functions do the heart and the fire element do? So it opens into the tongue and affects speech. So think about those people who are exuberant, right? Manic episode, talking really fast. From a physiological standpoint, controls blood circulation. It controls our sweat, right? We got to cool ourselves down. We're out in the heat, cool down. It's in charge of our happiness and our joy. It manifests on the face. So when people are falling in love, right? They're blushing. That is your fire element, that color red coming out into your face. It also houses the mind, mental activity, memory, and sleep, and it controls our blood vessels and our pulse strength. What else does it look like? Okay, so the personality of fire element is bubbly and charming, very lively, imaginative, and spontaneous, expressive, curious, and very inventive. That's on good days. On bad days, fire elements will be very overexcited. They'll be very scattered. They might experience lots of anxiety and nervousness. On the downside, they could be over serious. There's always that. And then they have this insatiability. So that's that, think about somebody who is in an actual manic episode. When a psychiatrist or therapist is looking at them, they need to gauge, are they overspending? Over-sexing? Are they engaging in dangerous behaviors that is not normally in their normal state of being? And then it's all of a sudden, like for 10 days, it's just like spending spree, and you blow all of your savings going shopping. Things like that, that insatiability. Common symptomology is insomnia and nightmares, heart palpitations. That's where that anxiety comes in. Dermatological issues, blood pressure irregularities. So if your heart and fire element have been out of balance for a while, these are things that you might have symptoms over. And what will you crave? So you'll crave bitter foods, amphetamine-like narcotics, and thrill-seeking activities. So I always like to choose my celebrity. And for fire element, I chose Christina Ricci because of Lillian Bridges and her great book about Chinese face reading. Fire element people have very large eyes that express in a person as a sign that they can receive and express emotions easily and well. So she is very receptive and open to seeing the world and taking in things around her. And her eyes are bright and large. Like, I just thought this was such a great picture, and she's gorgeous. So that gives you an example of that. On the flip side, this was out of C.T. Holman's book. Here is a gentleman with little eyes. Our heart is manifest out in our eyes, right? We can see how happy or how sad a person is by their eyes. You know this. So the eyes of this man show that he keeps his emotions inside. He most likely has a need for privacy and must trust someone before revealing himself. So he has little eyes, they're closed. Look at the difference. Christina's like, come and get me. I want all the things. There you go, right? She's very open. She's got a lot of trust in the world. She feels safe in her kingdom. So that's what, right? We need to have physical safety in our heart, those boundaries in place in order to experience the world. Where this gentleman, he's a little bit more closed off, and you see that by his eyes. How else does it manifest out? Manifest through the skin, right? We already talked about blushing, but in this case, this young man is experiencing like a rash, or this might be acne. So this is a fire imbalancing happening within him. And then also ulcers on the tongue. Manifests out in speech, right? Manifests in the tongue. I've known, like last year, well, maybe it wasn't last year, I went through a pretty significant emotional release after going through a retreat. It was very healing for me. I released a lot of things. Sure enough, I got a cold sore here on my mouth and some just like inflammation on my tongue. And it was just because things just were trapped, and I just had to let them go. And I just let myself do its thing. I knew what was going on, and eventually it went away. This gentleman, also from C.T. Holman's book, is showing the broken heart line. Now it's kind of hard maybe for you guys to see, but I will just point it out here. Is this white line across the bridge of his nose. What does this mean when you see this on yourself or on somebody else? So this line marks this man's nose horizontally above the tip. It is a sign of an overactive pericardium that is protecting his heart as he has been hurt before. So his pericardium is totally closed off. He's just like, nope, nothing's getting in here. Nothing's getting into my kingdom. It has probably made him more cognizant or have a bittersweet quality of life. So you can see that. If you notice that in people, now you know what that means. You go on a date with somebody and they've got that across their nose, you're probably not getting a second date because they're probably so shut down they probably won't let you in anyways, or you're going to have a lot of work to do in order to get there. A lot of trust has to be built. Okay, so essential oils. I love essential oils. They're kind of my life. They've changed my life. To nurture your fire element, you can use geranium, right? Pink, red. We got to think about some of these colors. Frankincense. Oh, so geranium is the oil of love and trust. It helps with blood issues and bleeding, low libido, and it's great for your skin. So ladies, you can apply it on your navel. I put it in my skin. I make my own skin stuff. Very good for hormone balancing. Frankincense, that's the king of oils, which is good for mental clarity, cellular health, and autoimmune disorders. But frankincense helps you to clear your energetic space and clear your boundaries. And it also helps you to, if you work with it every single day, it will work its plant medicine on you, where you will start to be able to discern better the things that are good for you and the things that aren't, and solidifying your kingdom and an energetic sense. Might sound a little woo-woo, but plants are made to heal us. It's why they gave it to Jesus in the Bible, right? It's got some moxie. Okay, so Serenity Restful Blend. I love Serenity Restful Blend. It's right here, sitting right next to me. I use it nightly. It helps calm agitation and supports sleep. Pink pepper. I drink it every day. It's very good for lymph and candida, good for metabolic syndromes, poor circulation, depression, and anxiety. So pink, right? It's going to help the heart. Black pepper helps with cataracts, anxiety, poor circulation, and cold extremities. Arborvitae, you can use as a natural sunscreen, cold sores and warts. And also you can use it to bring you down from that over exuberance of life. If you need to calm down, put it on the bottoms of your feet. All right, and then marjoram, which helps with high blood pressure and heart issues, overactive sex drive, cold sores, boils, ringworm, and it can help you move from doubtful to trusting. So there's that energetic, beautiful gift that marjoram can give to you. Now, the queen of oils, we already talked about the king of oils, which was frankincense, but the queen of oils, queen of the heart, is rose. Why do you think they give roses on Valentine's Day, which is all about L-O-V-E, love? Hello? Okay, it opens up that oomph of voom, helps with low libido, impotency, prostate issues, and semen production. Can also help your skin. I put rose on my face every day, and I also make my own sex lubes that I use just for myself. If you want a sex lube, I'm gonna make it for you. Very good for a vaginal. Talk about that in a second. Also very good for childbirth and baby blues, grief and depression, Bell's palsy, multiple sclerosis, cellulite, hair loss, dandruff, cancer, and immune support, and respiratory infections. All of those things, right? Upper jowl, and then also about love. So another ways that I like to use rose, and I usually buy the touch version just because it's less expensive, because rose oil can be really expensive. It takes a lot of rose petals to process that. So I put rose on, and I make my own face serum, but if you could just use the rose touch, you put your roller of rose touch in the fridge and use it on irritated skin or puffy eyes in the morning. So that young man we saw with the redness on his face, every morning could just wake up and roll that on his skin. Excuse me. The metal roller ball will stimulate the vessels in the face and calm the skin down. So if you get under eye stuff, use rose for skin issues of all kinds. I already talked about that. Rashes, you can use it on babies' rash. The emotional benefits of the rose brings you back to love, which we talked about too already. And then one of the many physical benefits of rose is applies to vaginal issues. That's why I put it in my homemade lube that I make. You can use it internally with proper dilution and care. And you can use the frankincense, lavender, geranium, tea tree, and neroli together with it, well diluted with a carrier oil. I use an Ayurvedic oil as my base, or a fractionated coconut oil. And if you suffer from vaginal pain, maybe after sex too, you can soak it in a tampon and insert it, or just vaginal dryness, you could try that out as well. So foods of the fire element, what is the common theme here that you are seeing? Not only are these foods really, really sexy, but they're all red. So you want to nurture your fire element, buy things that are red: cranberries, strawberries, apples, red bells, all those things. Very good for your heart. I'm talking about all the elements here. What are their primary colors? We've got this blue black of winter. We've got red of summer. We've got spring green, yellow. Think of what is in harvest during those times. There is a reason why these things are in full abundance during those times of year. And if you want to eat with the elements, just literally look at what color you're buying, and you will, and like, eat the rainbow, people. So another practice, if you do not have access to an acupuncturist, you can do Buddha's triangle on yourself, especially if you're a person who has anxiety and you need help coming down like at night in order to sleep, if you have insomnia. And there's these beautiful points just right here on the wrist that you can just massage on yourself. There's lung 9, heart 7, and pericardium 6. Now, if you want to get started using essential oils or working with these elements, you can please interact with me on Rosemary Thyme Oil Mavens on my Facebook group. I host doc talks. There's other users of essential oils in that group, and we are always talking about the things. And then you can always get a free tongue analysis of myself and my good friend, Dr. Mika, who is also an acupuncturist, but she is a naturopath as well. We do them every Wednesday night starting at 6 or 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And we will analyze your tongue in the Chinese medicine way and let you know what organ systems are out of place. And we will put you on a supplement and essential oil protocol that is unique and custom for you. The tongue analysis is free, so it will only cost you basically the supplements and the essential oils. We want you to be able to experience the power of plant medicine if you would like to use these herbs and supplements and make it affordable. So reach out to me on Rosemary and Thyme Oil Mavens, and that's our logo there. So, because there's a couple different Oil Mavens groups out there, so just look for that logo. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me with the fire element discussion. And I look forward to seeing you again. Subscribe, come hang out with me in Facebook, soon to be Instagram too. All right, have a great day.